Hey, how's it going, guys? This is It's_Snugs, twitch.tv if you want to come check out my live streams. But today I'm bringing you a guide on the Poison Nova Necro. It's really good. It's extremely strong. You can farm pretty much any content in the game. The only thing I wouldn't bring it in against is Ubers or Declone. But any of the maps, tier 1 through 4, Act 5, Act 4, Act 3, pretty much anything it's going to do very, very well against. Now, I will warn you that this build, the variant that I'm using, is not cheap. The Trangul's version is going to be slightly cheaper, but this is an extremely good option, and it's got great utility and pretty insane damage. So anyway, let's start with the gear, and then we'll move into skills, and then do some live gameplay. The first item that we're going to want to have is Death's Web. Pretty much any poison build on Necromancer is going to use this item. 2 to all skills, 2 to bone, poison and bone skills, and as well as a bunch of lower res and increased poison damage from the facet. And another really key piece to this item is the plus 8 life after each kill, plus 8 mana after each kill. This gives you sustain throughout the tier maps, especially 1 and 2 when you're pretty much poisoned the entire time. So this kind of gives you that life back, and I almost never have to pop pots in tier 1 and 2. So it's a very nice damage and utility piece. Next is going to be 2 open sockets Shaco. This build has pretty good magic find. It's not insane. It's not as high as some other builds. But the Harlequin Crest Shaco is a big part to why we do get a little bit of magic find in here. We do get some more, but I'll explain that later. In here, I have a -8 plus 10 increased poison damage. Excuse me. And there's a reason that we don't have perfect facets in here, and I'll explain that later. Next piece, a 10 Magic Find Maras, a 10 Magic Find Volcathos, and then we have a Wisp Projector, which is just CNC. They're just stupid expensive, so CNC works for me. This happens to be a really good, really well-rolled one, though. Mid-roll on the Magic Find, but perfect Light Zorb, perfect Run Walk. The Light Zorb and the Magic Find and the Aura is all that I care about here. We are not going for the 125 faster cast rate breakpoint on this. Instead, we are hitting the 75. So keep that in mind. And the 75 is plenty for this build, trust me. The next is probably the most expensive piece on this entire character, which is going to be the Skin of the Viper Magi. 4 open socket with 4 perfect facets in it. Yeah, it's just badass. All skills, cast rate, damage, 33 all res. It rolls 20 to 35 all res. This is a pretty good one. This is an expensive piece. This is going to be the hardest piece to get. You can actually get kind of a considered bad D-Web for maybe a high rune. So don't let that throw you off. This one I think was 5 or 6 high runes. So it wasn't cheap, but it's not outrageous either. A jaw on a burr. Basically, you're trading an Enigma for it. Arachnid's Mesh, 1 to all skills, faster cast rate, mana. It's just good stuff. This is kind of a crucial piece here. The Sandstorm Treks we need for the faster hit recovery. It also gives strength and vitality, which is good, and then it also gives poison res, which we want for those tier 1s and tier 2s. And these have a 10% reduced cooldown corruption on them. This is a nice utility piece. We'll explain that later down here on our convocation, essentially our teleport skill. Our Trangul's Claws, Heavy Bracers. They're a must for any poison build. These are 10% all res Trangs bracers. These are nice. These are worth about a high rune. Spirit Monarch, 30% faster cast rate. That's all we need on this build. We don't actually need 30%. I just like the even number. I do have a 35, but I'm using it on a different character. On swap, we have CTA and another spirit to buff the D-Web. The one downside to using the spirit is that it's a large strength requirement, so we lose a bit of life, but we still have a nice life pool, mainly because of our poison and bone. They're all lifers. So I think I have a little bit of life down here, maybe? No, I don't. I just have a little bit of faster hit recovery, magic find, and res. That's a really nice charm right there. That's a super nice one too. But anyway, you get the idea. Torch, 1718, and Annie, 1712, kind of a 1712-7, kind of a mediocre one. I think it was a high rune and a half. This I got for a crazy deal. I think it was only 1.75 high runes, 1.5. It was cheap. I just remember I got it for really cheap. But anyway, let's go over skills real quick. we're going to want to get to minus 105 lower resist. The reason is because we need that to break immunes. When I use CTA and I use my my bow, my battle command, this actually goes to 106 though, which is fine, but I still want to have it at 105 just in case the bow falls off. Poison and Bone Spills, you're going to max your 3 synergies here, Poison Nova, Desecrate, and Deadly Poison. You're going to max in that order, so Poison Nova first, then Desecrate, then Deadly Poison. You're going to go 1, 1, and then your final points when you're level, I'm level 95 right now, but when you start getting into those higher levels, all your remaining points are going to end up going in here. That's, of course, after your lower resist is 105, and your Convocation is maxed, okay? You want this teleport quick. We want to be able to kill things quickly and move quickly, so it's important to have this at level 34, okay? And then those boots that I showed you earlier, the Sandstorm Treks, with a reduced cooldown on them, that gets us to 0.4. Okay? Yep, so let's go back to skills real quick. We're going to go 1-1. We want to have 1 in Blood Golem. This gives us a ton of sustain. I never use Clay Golem. 1-1-1. We're basically just trying to get to revives. The reason that we want revives is because they give us a body shield. So we have, this is a very tanky build. This is kind of a melee caster, almost. You can actually jump into mobs and kind of play that old school Hammerden style, but with the Nova style. And I really like that about this build. I kind of prefer that gameplay style. But anyway, somebody texting me for a trade. So yeah, you just want to have your 1 point into revives. You'll get 5 if you have as max skills like I do. It would be, I think the only point skill that I'm missing is the Mara's right there. But I would rather have the Magic Find, because as you'll see, this has plenty of damage. So let's go, actually, okay. So the breakpoints that we're going to want to be reaching here are, and we're pretty much max on res. Yeah, we're max on res. We're at 23 Nova. When we buff this with CTA, it's 24 Nova. 31 Desecrate turns to 32 Desecrate. And our Deadly Poison is 33,000. It turns into about 35,000 with our CTA as well. So you want to have this running at all times. You want to have your Blood Golem up at all times. You want to have your Bone Armor up at all times. And you want to have your Revives up at all times. Okay? On the Merc, we're using a Colossus Volge Insight. The only reason that I'm using Colossus Volge, it's an F1, is because it's pretty much a perfect roll. I would like to go to a Thresher at some point soon. I just got to roll a good one. In Path of Diablo, you cannot take runes out if it's an F item. Just a heads up. I'm using a 2 open socket Andes. I think I would prefer Vamp Gaze here, but because I'm using his F Sacred Armor Fortitude, I need the strength from Andes. Pretty much plain and simple. I have a melee splash IAS Jewel, and then an ED Fire Res Jewel in here, I believe. Maybe not Fire Res, but we're at 52, which is okay. All the other reses are maxed. That's the one thing I don't like about Andes, is Hydras and fire enemies kind of tend to hurt a little bit on your Merc. Anyway, let's go into Chaos real quick. So we're going to buff. We're going to rebone armor, do everything. We're going to buff again. That's going to give everything that we just spawned a higher level, okay? So we're going to go ahead and go into Chaos here, and I'm going to show you how fast this is. It's about 1.5 minutes at its fastest speed. If you do a full clear, closer to 2 minutes. And I'm on the wrong... Got to swap off CTA. Here's an Elite. Dead. This is hell, by the way. You can use your Desecrate if it's kind of a tankier mob. And a lot of the time I don't opt to make in kind of a lower, difficulty stuff. I don't necessarily always make Grand Charm. I don't always make my revives. It's not necessarily a necessity. Make sure you reactivate that bone armor. It's going to stop a lot of damage. That was kind of a nastier pack. Anyway, one Nova and it's dead. I'm going to pop a pot real quick right there. because I'm poisoned. Everything dies. It's fantastic. We'll do Lord of Seas here real quick. Easy peasy. Tons of damage. This is overkill for Chaos. So if you need to, use that Desecrate at range. It's going to help you. Stay out of kind of nastier stuff. With the wrong affix, Infector can be pretty dangerous. So we'll rebone armor. We'll start laying down our deadly poison. And watch how fast he dies. Owned. And some nice drops today. Just for the video. 2 to Assassin, 40 to Life was almost good. And 234 Brambles, a little bit of a low roll there. We'll slam those. Why not? Anyway, I'm going to take you guys into a tier 3. This build really excels in tier 3. It'll do them at about 15 minutes or so. It's good in 4s. There's a lot of poison immunes, though. So you're going to have to break those poison immunes with lower res. I currently have 99 Pierce. Let me reactivate my deadly poison here. 99 Pierce. You don't want more than that. That's why I only have -8 in my Shaco, because there's no point to having more than 99 Pierce. You're going to have to lower res at that point anyway. So we're hitting 100 faster cast rate, so it's more than enough, and we're hitting that 86 breakpoint for faster hit recovery. So we're going to spawn only Udars here. Why? Because they have the biggest hitbox. We want that big hitbox. And we'll probably have to respawn, rebuff about halfway through the rift. Zombies are poison immune. Birds are also poison immune. But everything dies. And try to stay against walls. It's going to keep you from going into faster hit recovery. A little bit of a frame drop there. Cryptic Axe, nice. No open sockets though, so we'll leave it. Anyway, we're gonna go back kill these elites real quick. And we're getting real close to 96. Probably tomorrow I'll hit it. It's super tanky. It's pretty fast. I'm kind of going at a leisurely pace here. I'm pretty tired, so I'm kind of don't want to make a mistake. So I'm kind of just chilling back a little bit. Usually I actually play a lot more aggressive than this, but... So the Triangles variant of this build is also very, very good. It does a similar amount of damage, but the problem is it's hard to fit Magic Find in. This fits a little bit more Magic Find. I'm at 177 Magic Find, by the way. So approaching 200. I could fit a little bit more if I really wanted to, but I would lose a little bit of utility. See, that was a bad TP. I wouldn't recommend doing that. But it just absolutely smashes tier 3. You only really need to do one Nova every 2 seconds, because it takes 2 seconds. It doesn't stack. So I'm kind of spamming a little bit. But one reason that I do spam it is in case things walk in, they will get affected by poison. If anybody's curious what loot filter I'm using the animals. The one that's further down on the list. Not the quote-unquote less laggy version. That one's higher up on the list. I like this one. It seems pretty perfect for me. But I haven't used a single health pot thus far, which is nice because I don't like using it. Now the insight on Merc is a little bit some might be a little skeptical about that, using something like Pride or something with higher DPS. Which, yes, that makes sense. Reaper's Toll would be another good option. But again, I'm just like, I run maps 10 hours a day, so having that utility, I think, is really necessary, and especially when there are no immunes on T3, which is what I target to farm. That can't be broken. Literally none. So our bow fell off, so we're gonna go ahead and rebow here real quick after I empty this room out. There we go. We got all our buffs back up. Also, one thing that I see a lot of people do is they... Oh, nice. OOC. They stay and kill every mob. It's actually less efficient to stay and kill mobs. You don't want to do that because you're killing less monsters per hour. Less monsters per hour equals less room drops per hour, less drops per hour. So just leave. See, there's Titan's Revenge and it's Ariat's face right on top of each other. It's so easy, man. Okay, that's pretty lucky for the stream. That's good. That's pretty rad. And again, kills per hour is more important than stacking a billion, magic find. You want to kill stuff fast and still have a decent amount of magic find. Even if you only can fit 100 into the build. That's still way worth if you can kill really fast. I don't bother picking up jewels anymore, to be completely honest. Annoying snake. I would like to get to the well, thank you. Heavily favorite tier maps. I've had all my best drops. I've dropped Burr and Zod in the same run. Cham and Olm in the same run. Dropped Death's Fathom and Azarath in the same run. And Tal's Ami in the same run. See? Okay. Maybe not. Next time. Earlier today, I dropped 2 summon skillers in the same run, literally on top of each other. It was crazy. I've never seen that happen. They were both plain, but still, pretty crazy. So we got our boss. You want to spread away from your minions. So we're going to put him there. And it absolutely shits on tier bosses. Tier 4. Not horrible. Although I will say I prefer my druid much more for tier 4 than this. Druid is also very, very good on this. The Flame Dash Druid. So we're out of our... we need to respawn our guys here. Hellords are also okay. They're not as good as Udars, but you really want to go for Udars if you can. Urdars. I don't usually pick up jewels, but if they're convenient, I will. Reason that I don't pick up jewels is because you got to pick up 10,000 of them to find one good one, pretty much. So I just don't bother. It slows my runs down. See, everything pretty much dies before it even gets to me. This is kind of a nastier room. These are the ones you really want to stay against the wall on. So keep hopping on that wall. Tall Rosh is built. Pretty good loot this run, actually. Usually when I make a video, it's like terrible loot. And I will ID all this stuff at the end of the video if you guys want to check it out. Because why not? I kind of like to do tier 3 in like a lawnmower type technique. If you find yourself that going into hit recovery, you can always activate your bone armor against the wall. So again, try to stay against walls, right? But you can reactivate that bone armor really, really quickly. So it can save you if you do get into a kind of a sticky situation. And sometimes I will lower res just because of the light radius in the room. So it kind of gives me a little bit of a flashlight, so to speak. Oh, you know what? I lost my damn Shaco. It's broken. Wow, rip. I was like, okay, so if lower res, that's a perfect example of why you need lower res there. Did you see that bird right there that was not getting hit by Nova, even though it had lower res on it? That's why you need the 105 lower res. So actually, that's kind of a cool example, kind of show you why you do need that. That's actually not a bad charm, but... Don't need it. I always kill ghosts. Ghosts have a higher rune drop chance than other enemies. They can't drop armors. That's why. So earlier when I mentioned, hey, like don't stomp on every mob to kill every single, single enemy. Ghosts are sometimes not a bad idea to kill though, because of that accelerated rune drop chance. Kind of pick up the pace a little bit here. And there we go. There's a T3 cleared. That was probably about a 17, 18 minute run. A little bit slower, but Jesus. Okay, guys. The loot, pretty nuts. A 2/4 life leech Ariats, 169. 172, 7%er, so a pretty good roll on that. Talrashas, 10%, that's garbage. %. So we got a martial arts skiller, an Ariat's Face, a Titan's Revenge, and an OOC all in one run. Pretty sick, man. Let's go ahead and slam it on stream. Why not? Or not on stream, but video. Looks like it rolled 7 to energy. Well, anyway, guys, you guys have a great day, and thanks for watching. If you have any questions, put it in the comments. You can check me out. I stream daily at twitch.tv/its_snugs. And yeah, guys, take care. Have a great day.